It all comes down to this. Yep. Harris coming back. That's exactly right. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Okay. Okay. Yep. It's going to be dry later. It's going to be dry later. So this rain will not affect Road Patrol Live. Always good to know that. Yes. And we are live with the real news. Okay. And there I am. There I am. Yes. Yes, 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 on this rainy Tuesday. There's Patty Ann. Hi, Patty Ann. There's Tammy. Brenda. Yes, hello. There's Kevin Buckland. Wink Hawkins. Folks, we're joined by Edgewood Greatness. Yes, we are. Yep. We will be live later. What a time to be alive. Country is turning around. Seems to be in the right direction. Yep, I believe that. Should certain politicians be arrested? Yes. I'm going to tell you why. Momentarily. We're live in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh, okay. Let's change that. What a couple of days of action. Yep. Okay. And as I said, I'll be in town for not going out of town for Thanksgiving. So we'll be here. All right. We're live in 1 minute. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Who said anyone's panicking? No one's panicking. That's exactly right. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Nice and clean, and we're just. Okay, night. I don't know what's happening. Hold on now. Hold on. What the hell happened? Let me try it again. All right, there we go. Nice and clean. Solid connection, JR. We are waiting for our cue. It kicked off again. Oh, okay, there we go. At 106. I believe we should be okay. Nope, it keeps kicking off. I'm going to have to hold it to make sure. At 106 right now on this rainy Tuesday, this is the real news. Sometimes these things, folks, we can get challenged by some of the technology that we use, but we work through it. We work through it. Right now, it's worth it. It's worth it. No one said it was easy. If it was easy, anyone could do it. Right now, as we speak, and I believe we have a clear connection, we're live on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Now, remember, if you're north of Providence and all the way booming into Worcester, I mean, it's no problem getting the station. It's south when you come south of Providence. And then when you get in towards the airport, then that's where the signal. But again, it booms very well north into everywhere, north of the border, well into Massachusetts, certainly into Rentham, in Attleboro and Bellingham. And as I said, Douglas, well into the Worcester area. It's just when you get south of the airport, run into a little bit of a problem. But you can always listen online at the website, depetro.com. Now, if you're watching, then it's not a problem because then first of all, if you listen at DePietro.com, you can listen anywhere in the world. And what I mean by that is I've listened on the other side of the world. I have family that has listened in Asia, in China, in Vietnam, in all over the world. You can listen at depetro.com, and then obviously all over the United States and New England and so forth, up and down the coast. We have a lot of people that listen in Florida and the Carolinas where they go. More people seemingly are going to places like Tennessee and the Carolinas over the next few months. Obviously, still a lot of people go to Florida. Some people then live in Florida year round. But nonetheless, folks, this portion of the program, my point is you can always listen or watch at this time. We're live on Facebook. We're live on X, which I agree with Scott Jennings of CNN. I think Elon has done a fantastic job with X. I'm going to touch on that. And then we're also live on YouTube. And our YouTube presence has grown tremendously. And that's a big goal for 2025 is to really, this year we leaned into TikTok. We've had great results with TikTok. Obviously, Facebook continues to be, this has been a record week with the amount of people that following the page on Facebook. And then, Instagram is Instagram. You have to be there. I don't put as much into it, but my belief, you got to be where, you got to fish where the different people are. Sunday night when I was at the Homicide on Monticello Street, one of the individuals that came out of the house said, "Are you live on Instagram right now?" We were live on Facebook and TikTok, but my point is, and then was it yesterday or the day before, I was pumping gas and the guy next to me said, "I watch you all the time on TikTok." So you get that. And then Saturday night when we were at Kennedy Plaza, if you remember, somebody came by and said, "I watch all of your stuff on YouTube." So, folks, the point is, you have to be in different areas. I like being on X. It's a different crowd. I think Elon's done a great job with it. And, folks, and it's interesting why certain people are upset about what's going on with that. But this portion of the program is brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Small business, family-run business, right off of Route 4. Stop it and see them. Steve, Debbie, Junior, Byron, and Lauren. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Fraser fir trees, potted live trees, custom handmade wreaths, 10 and 60 in size. They have Christmas swag and mistletoe, hanging baskets, roping, cut greens, decorative pots, cemetery baskets. Don't forget that. And on top of that, florist quality poinsettias, custom-made sleighs from local artists, and also firewood is available for pickup and delivery. They're open every day. Gift certificates are always there. And I share their Facebook page because they're just terrific. Folks, it's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. And worth taking the ride to get your wreath or Christmas tree there. And located 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. I want to thank them again. It's been another year. They are reliable, dependable sponsors that believe in the program, believe the message and info that we try to get across. They're one of the businesses that have been celebrating since November, much like many of us have. And stop it and see them. They're great people. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Well, folks, check out depetro.com. We have a lot of updates. We have the video from Kennedy Plaza. We have the video. By the way, we also have a lot of the Charlotte Lester documents. Well, the arrest of Mark Perkins. I am going to touch on that, by the way. But depetro.com, I'm very thankful for the support from the Cowesett Inn. Folks, people like Jim at the Cowesett Inn, they're terrific. They support the program. They support what we're trying to do. As you know, it's not easy being independent media. It is a grind. It is a grind 7 days a week. There can be payoffs. Sometimes there's lulls, but it's never easy out there. But you see it consistently, and I'm very happy with the growth that we've experienced. We continue, but I'm very thankful this Thanksgiving week for people like the Cowesett Inn that are with us thick and through. 226 Cowesett Avenue, West Warwick. They can handle a large group. People coming in from out of town, Maybe you want to have a little mini reunion. The Coesit Inn, they have a nice big bar area. You're not on top of each other. I like it. You can chat and talk, stiff drinks, good appetizers. They have the market at Coesit, the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Now, I do want to touch on, there's something very interesting that I think is going to play out. But I did just mention DePietro.com, and we have more video that's going to be going up. By the way, if you're new to the Charlotte Lester case, by demand, I have started a series. We've dropped 4 episodes so far. I posted them on Facebook. They're definitely on TikTok. We're going to have links on the website, DePietro.com. There are some people that are new to the story. That's fine. So, but you can check it out at the website, DePietro.com. We have more info. We broke more news on that. This missing persons case. As you know, I was ridiculed by other members of the media. Leave that guy alone. You know, what are you, an investigator? Leave him. You don't belong there. That guy is innocent. You're turning his life upside down. Some of the people criticizing. You know, we knew what we knew. And if you check out and follow the program with the live streams, I'm very happy with the live streams we did. After a period of time, you know, we learned a lot from following that case. And by really what I call, you flood the zone. You fully get into, I know more about the timeline than anyone. Now, we've learned a lot, by the way. I've learned a lot. There were certain things that I was trying to figure out. And I'm so glad that I was able to get some of the court documents because the media was reporting things that were wrong. So right now on DePietro.com, you have me in front of his house last Wednesday when he was arrested less than a week ago. And I explained the different elements of the Charlotte Lester case with Mark Perkins. So you have that video. Now, again, I'm going to be linking other video. I have it in some people think you get everything you don't get everything all at once. You don't get everything all at once. We're telling a story. Some things that I've learned. Number one, people don't read. But if you're lucky, they will watch video. But the fact of the matter is we weren't wrong on that. Where are all those individuals? I was mocked down the dial by W. McKee, Pork Boy and crew, right? They wouldn't touch the story. You know, cackle. Everyone deserves the presumption of innocence. Leave that poor man alone, you know. Pork Boy, all I can say is I think, you know, he's going after the wrong guy. And Pork Boy saying, I know Mark Perkins. I'll vouch for him. I don't think he's involved. Well, you know, we've learned a lot more. But if you check the website, we have, it was, and you can walk through it a little bit, but it's interesting. And again, the videos, there's people that are new that didn't follow it. Now they do want to follow it. And also, by the way, just to remember, folks, in February, I go to court against this goon. I go to court in February, I will be in court. Unless he pleads out, but even if he pleads out, he has to go to court and plead out. But as of right now, the trial is set. Felony assault. Tried to take the life of the independent man with the chosen one with that running lawnmower. So, and with the orange ski mask, that's set for February. That should actually now be a pretty interesting trial. I never thought I would be pressing charges against someone who's actually now charged with murder one. But that's what is going to happen in February. Now, even if they decide to plead out and he doesn't go forward with the case, they still have to go to court and plead out. So, but that'll be something to look forward to in the new year. But there's various things we learned, which are that it was the Thursday. Now, keep in mind, you know, it's tough when they're a family that then are left to deal with, and then they say, I wish we had talked the next day and things like that. But I'm going to cover a lot of this in some of the videos that we're going to do. I don't know how many episodes it's going to be. It could end up being 100 videos. But we know the timeline of the case. The police do fill in some of the blanks of the case from when someone first contacted the police that Thursday. She was last seen alive that Monday night. To how the dog, when her truck arrived at Kent Hospital, to when the dog was seen in the yard, to what police found when they went and interviewed him and they caught him in the first lie. There's a lot if you read right on the website. Again, we have it posted, DePietro.com, from when the police went and talked with him and he said, yeah, I was trying to break up with her. And they noticed his hands were swollen. He seemed unfazed that she was missing. And, also, we're the only ones that interviewed Monica Poole, where Monica told us that she claimed she gave a lot of misinformation, but some of the stuff she said she called him that Thursday and said Charlotte's missing, and he said, oh, that's too bad. But according to the police, the work police, when they went to interview Mark Perkins that Friday, found out there was a relationship. He said, yeah, I was trying to break up with her. But then when they got a hold of his phone, they found out that he was texting her that night saying, I love you, and drove down and come, why don't you answer me and come here? It's not too late. So that doesn't sound like someone you're trying to break up with. And then obviously, folks, once they swollen hands, he was acting evasive. Listen, no one said he's a normal individual, certainly not me. They then executed the search warrant in the house, inside the house. I heard her blood was on the wall. We've learned they found her blood on the wall. They found it on the ceiling. They found a shirt with blood in there. There was an awful lot of blood that we ended up learning through this that we didn't know at the time, that once they got inside the house, there was blood. There was a new mattress that he had bought the day before. That's odd. But police then jump into action. That certainly explained why they sat on that house for a month. But with police, what they learned was the first lie. Was he said, yeah, I was trying to break it off with her. No, I have no idea where she is. And instead, they have text messages. He's saying, yeah, I love you. Come see me. It's not too late, at 10 o'clock. And then it was actually, we're kind of learning it was like a trap that he was telling her to come over to the house because he planned to end her life, the sick nutcase that he is. So, but it's all right there on the website, DePietro.com, where you can read. These are the court documents that were released last Wednesday. He asked if he knew when he last spoke. He said, oh, I haven't spoken to her since the weekend. I have no idea where she is. And then they find out through his phone that he was texting her that night. Then they learned her truck was in the driveway. The dog was seen in the yard. Yeah, I haven't talked to her since last weekend. And then, it's all a lie. And folks, that's the thing about when you start to lie to the police. As soon as they figure out that you told a lie, they realize that's not the only lie. That's just the first lie that they've caught you in. So it's all right there on the website, DePietro.com. Now, I will be going through this in several videos, a series that we're doing about the case. And then it is an unusual case. It's a different type of case. It's horrible to think about that. But folks, when you invest a lot of time, we came to the conclusion that all the evidence pointed towards one person. And yes, last Wednesday, learning we were right. We were not wrong, despite what the nitwits, the bird brains down, that station that is a shell of itself. All they try to do is just say the opposite of whatever I'm saying. So that's why I noticed they don't talk about it. They had been saying, everyone deserves the presumption of it. They didn't know what they were talking about, much like many of the things that they talk about. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by The Real News, AJ Home Improvement. They want to wish all of their customers a very happy Thanksgiving. You could have a happy household. AJ Home Improvement. Call them today, 401-323-9252. Frame to finish basements, acoustical ceilings, new homes, additions, commercial rehabs, painting, remodeling. They do it all. It's AJ Home Improvement. Call them today. If you can hear my voice, call them Let them improve your home. 401-323-9252. In-law apartments, unfinished basements, unfinished garage. AJ Home Improvement, 401-323-9252. Now, I want to talk about the big news, and there's going to be national ramifications here. But I also want to remind you folks, when you hear about all this crime that is out there, and it's true, remember to stop in and see my friend George, Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. Post Road in Warwick, right down from Route 37, right off Route 37, right down by Greg's. And excuse me, they're near Cosmic Pizza and also O'Reilly Auto Parts. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. Pop in and see the man himself, George. He's so knowledgeable, whatever it may be. Maybe you're a long-time firearm enthusiast. Maybe you're brand new. Maybe you just want to get a defensive shotgun. So if someone comes in your home, the universal theme for, look out. Rhode Island Guns and Ammo. I implore you to visit my gun guy. Now, as we know, at 123, I always think it's interesting. It's interesting when you have various individuals that start daring individuals, whether it is the governor of Rhode Island Governor McKee. By the way, folks, he's away on his 2-week Thanksgiving vacation. The guy, he doesn't belong there. Without question, he will go down as the worst governor we've ever had. But Governor McKee, Governor Healy, now you have a mayor in Denver. So this is a new story that's taking place right now. Tom Homan, our guy, the new border czar. As you know, those of you that listen to Juan Goes to Washington or JD in DC, I've interviewed him half a dozen times. Not once, not twice. Also, full disclosure, I've been out drinking with Tom Homan. He is going to be the border czar, former director of ICE. Tom Homan suggests the Denver mayor, quote, could go to jail for obstructing deportation. Former ICE director Tom Homan said Democrat Mayor Mike Johnson of Denver could go to jail if he tries to obstruct efforts to deport illegals. Folks, this is what I'm talking about. So you have Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, and he says, no, we're not cooperating. No, I run the state. Governor Healy, by the way, Governor of Mass, same way. These Rhode Island governors, Governor Ned Lamont of Connecticut. No, Governor, but let's just focus on McGreed. No, I run the state and we're not going to cooperate. Well, my question would be, what other laws is Governor McKee planning on breaking? Now, we know Governor McKee is not exactly a stickler for staying inside the law. We know the Attorney General pointed out there was definitely a quid with the way he assigned that ILO contract. What they couldn't prove was how he got payment. Now, he did in a way get payment because he ended up getting all this free PR work done for him. But Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, the only thing missing was they couldn't trace the payment. They couldn't get. Now, again, this could be offshore bank accounts, could have been in the form of $100,000 in a briefcase in cash. It was a big contract that was awarded. There was definitely, he was directing the contract to his friends, his pals, his campaign donors at the ILO contract. The one thing they couldn't get and they couldn't connect him on was how he got the payment. So it's as if, they have him entering the bank, but what they don't have, and there's money missing, they don't have what exactly, how did he get the payment? But think about this, Governor McKee, and no, we're not going to follow that. And I run my state, and he continues to let murderers and child molesters go. I would question, is he willing to do that? Him, Sabina Matos, those people are Rhode Island citizens, and we're going to protect Rhode Island. They're not citizens. They're not citizens. They're not even residents. They're people that just happen to come here, and they need to go back to their homeland. The country is in the midst of trying to establish a better program, but you can't have this haphazard. And by the way, all these Dominicans that come here, you know what Governor McKee is? So selfish and so reckless. And I think, I mean, we all can have a dream. I would love to. I mean, I don't want to say I fantasize. That would be too strong. But I'm encouraged by that. There could be a reckoning, that someone would call them out, folks. They are right now, and I want to be very clear about this. It's the way the structure in which the state is run is on the wrong path, and it's unsustainable. So the state over the next 4 years is going to be turned upside down, and they don't even realize it. And whether it's the McKee administration or the way the Rhode Island State House operates, the Trump administration, they're going to finally, thank God, they're going to break up the Department of Education. The Department of Education basically is handcuffed by the teachers' unions. And all of this talk in Providence about needs more money and this needs more money and we need more money, but there's no results there. There's no results. You know, I was watching a documentary. Did you realize they had 50 kids in something happened in a town in China, and there was a flood. So they had 50 kids in China in a tent with one instructor, 50 children under a tent in China. And they were reading and writing better than children in some of these American public schools. And the bait and switch that the McKee administration is doing is, oh, in Providence, we're going to build them brand new schools. Folks, it's a farce. There's no correlation. Central High School, completely redone. Did test scores go up? No. They have brand new schools. There's a technical school in Providence. I go by it every night on road patrol. It's right at the intersection of Westminster and Cranston Street. It's brand new built. How are the test scores? Terrible. There's no correlation that if you take these children, and it's more the way the learning environment is, and put them in a brand new facility, how does that impact test scores? Nothing. Then why do they do it? Because of organized labor. These are no bid contracts handed out to the unions, and all they do is pay off McKee. They don't improve the test scores. It's lunacy. It's craziness. Meanwhile, in Providence, you have the kids in the charter schools. They're not dictated by the teachers union. They set the hours. They have people that really want to teach. The principal gets to hire the teachers. They're in old, dilapidated buildings. They're in buildings that the public schools bailed out of. And the charter school kids, test scores are through the roof. So the Department of Education, you know, McKee is owned by the teachers union. And the whole thing is going to get blown up. But I think that's the only thing. Do you really want to be Governor McKee? Why would they not arrest him? I think he should be. If he's not going to uphold the law, any public official that starts openly breaking the law, they should be incarcerated. I don't have a problem with it. I don't. And that goes, by the way, for the mayor of Central Falls, the mayor of Pawtucket, the mayor of Providence, the mayor anywhere. My question is, what are the laws are you going to allow them to break? And let's get a list of it. Governor McKee, no Trump administration. By the way, I'll tell you how much they despise the Trump administration. At the Commerce Corporation, I received a message, I won't say who, of somebody that worked at Rhode Island Commerce. And he posted a picture that he had a Trump sign or a Trump flag on his lawn. And he posted that on Facebook. And they reached out to him at Commerce and told him to take down the photo. You can't work here if you're going to have a Trump sign. What is this? Is the party that's inclusive? Folks, it's all crumbling. The big news today is they're all excited that people are actually bidding on working on the bridge. Yeah, it's people that they can't get work elsewhere. Think how pathetic that is, that they're all excited. Look at that. The people want our bit. Like, they're so small time. Agreed. But I believe that would be my question. If he's not going to follow that law, what other laws are they not going to follow? Maybe he should start to submit that. So with Magritte right now, I think that is the step that they should go to. And remember, you don't have to arrest a bunch of them. For instance, and I think McKee is ripe for the picking. If they arrested, I would love it. Folks, live coverage coming. If they would arrest Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee for ignoring ICE and ignoring the law and ignoring deportations, what does that mean? It means the governor of Massachusetts, the governor of Connecticut, and some of these other governors and mayors, they would fall in line. You don't have to arrest like 50 people. First of all, I don't think there are 50 people, but you don't need to arrest that many. You just need to make an example out of someone. So when I worked in a nightclub and we had good security and tough security because it was a tough rock club, when you would have sometimes a group would come in and you could tell right away by their attitude that they were going to be a problem. You could tell they were going to be a problem. And the bouncers, the security guys who I was tight with, they would realize that you weren't going to fight 8 to 10 guys. You're going to find the biggest guy, and that's who you take out. And then the rest of them scram. So I'm not even sure you need to find the highest profile mayor. But what you need to do is make an example out of somebody. And whether it's the mayor of Boston, Michelle Wu, or whether it's Healy, I bet they'd want to be a little sensitive because they're women. And I think it's more of like the governor of Connecticut, Lamont. He's a likely suspect. Definitely Magritte. Are you kidding me? Governor McKee is part criminal anyway. I mean, that's been proven with all the investigations. He's not exactly a stickler for details and following the law. So I would love to be able to post Road Patrol live coverage as the feds arrest Dan McKee, Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee. You know, I'm actually getting kind of excited even thinking about it. A little bit of a Cialis feeling is taking over the independent, the chosen one. I would love that. I don't know how far it's going to come. Or at the same time, listen, he can't afford. They're so reliant on federal aid that for the Trump administration to say, we're going to start withholding aid, he doesn't have two nickels to rub together. Who's going to pay for that bridge? But there's another element of this, by the way, that I want to touch on that's so serious and so selfish. But folks, this portion of the program, you hear me talk about Kids Club on the Pike, birthday parties, before and after school programs, preschool programs, Kids Club on the Pike. It's right on the Cranston-Johnston line, right off Plainfield Pike. It's clean. It's designed for children. It's designed, this is the place you want to have a birthday party. I received a nice email from Phil. Phil's a grandfather. He has some adorable grandsons. And he thought, you know what? I'll have my little grandson and his friends over to my house. We'll throw the birthday party. Well, you know, the kids like knocked a lamp over. And then one of the kids ran out of the house. And then they were, you know, kind of jumping on the seat cushions. And then a couple of them went upstairs. It was like, whoa, this isn't what we thought it was. And I said, so he said, what's that place that you suggested for the birthday party? Kids Club on the Pike. And it's also good for a team celebration. It's designed for children. And whether they're 2 years old or 12 years old or 13, Kids Club on the Pike, 401-443-5336. So what I think, though, is really selfish. And folks, good afternoon, 137. This is the real news. So my answer is, yes, I would like to see, if you're an elected official and you're not going to follow the law, then yeah, guess what? I don't have a problem that they start to arrest some of them and start to enforce the law. Excuse me. But there's a lot of different dynamics to this. Now, again, as I've stated, there are, don't get me wrong, there's bigger cities, there's more high profile states, but you have to have, you want to have an exhibition game, you want to have a run through, you want to have a preseason game, make sure everything is up to speed. But some of the effects already, let's start with, how about in Springfield? Haitians are fleeing Springfield out of fear of mass deportation. Listen to this story.
Threat to carry out mass deportations is putting immigrant communities across the nation on edge. Take Springfield, Ohio, where Trump accused Haitian immigrants without any evidence of eating pets. Well, many are now leaving the city fearing deportation.
Here we go.
CBS's Nicole Valdez spoke with a woman in Springfield about the uncertain future for her community.
You know what?
I just boiled that. They take me wrong.
She's saying, I just boiled a cat, and now we have to.
Kathleen Moyes fled unspeakable violence in her homeland of Haiti 6 years.
What about the violence we have here? And the lady's preparing a cat as they're interviewing her.
Hoping to find peace and a slice of the American dream.
I stay here. I do job to make my business. That's why I don't go back to Haiti.
There's a golden retriever on a rotisserie behind her.
How many people do you think that you know have left Springfield?
I know almost 10 people.
That's not enough.
Those people.
Friends, my neighbors.
She saved money for years and recently opened a restaurant.
Listen, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. Yeah, opened a restaurant where they have pets on the menu. Listen, I want to be very clear of how I believe that this should play out. And that is, whoever it is that is going to stay, what you have to do is, it has to be an element where there has to be a sponsor. There has to be someone accountable for who these people are and vouch for them. And then we have a right to know that if something goes wrong, that where are they? How did they get in here? The first thing that has to stop is the flow. You can't have an open border. Once you have the open border, they have to get rid of the criminals. There has to be a checks and balances for who comes in, and where they are. Because too many of them skip out. Too many of them skip out whenever they're arrested. And then we don't know where they are or how you would, in fact, even get a hold of them. So, or drag them into court. But I want to hear Tom Homan talking about, if you're going to block law and order, then we're going to put you in, we're going to put you in jail.
Look, me and the Denver mayor, we agree on one thing. He's willing to go to jail. I'm willing to put him in jail. Because there's a statute, it's Title 8 United States Code 1324 III. What it says is, it's a felony if you knowingly harbor and conceal illegal alien from immigration authorities. It's also a felony to impede a federal law enforcement officer. So if we're going to hell, that's fine. He can get the hell out of the way. But we're going to go do the job. President Trump has a mandate for American people. We got to secure this country. We got to.
He's exactly right. I want to talk about the selfishness element that Governor McKee is involved in. And I am going to touch on that because that's what it is. It's reckless. It's irresponsible. It's selfish. It is. Think about that. And it should be illegal. They have an illegal, and he is a pedophile. He is a sex offender. He's in Rhode Island. They have him in custody. And Governor McKee lets him go. How is that not? He should be arrested. How is that responsible? How is that allowed? That's reckless, irresponsible. I think he violates his oath, and I think it's a crime. And I would love to be there when, in fact, they go to arrest him. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Watson Materials. Contact them today, 401-885-0600. Largest selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island is Watson Materials. And it's incredible what they can do for your outside. Call them, request a quote, Watson Materials, 885-0600. Complete selection of landscape materials, whether it's landscape lighting or pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, decorative stone, Watson Materials. 401-885-0600. The most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island is Watson Materials. Folks, that piece that I played on this morning on the radio portion, it was a segment on Fox and Friends. And what they were talking about is how the children are misled to come into the country, where they tell these children, yeah, you know, we and they mislead the people. We have jobs for you, and we're going to get your kids in here. So what do? They break the law. They come in here, and then they entice, they entice the children. We're going to bring you to mommy and daddy. They're not brought. They're put into sex trafficking. Here's the part that you need to understand, and I don't hear anyone talk about this. Governor McKee tells these people, come to Rhode Island. We will provide you sanctuary. We're a sanctuary state. Governor Healy, come to Massachusetts. We'll protect you. But the fact of the matter is they never make it up here. They're put into human trafficking at the border. But let's just focus on by Rhode Island governor, and actually, no, we'll do Healy, by them offering sanctuary states, the people are disillusioned into thinking, oh, okay, that's where I'm going to get to. But they never get here. You know, it's kind of, if you've ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross, they were selling swampland. They were selling land in Florida and other places. And they had these brochures, and it was, you know, look at, you could be living in sunny acres and all this other stuff. And it's worthless. It's swampland and it's not developed. But the people had the illusion. But as long as Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee continues to mislead these people, that if you can get to, his deal is, listen, here's, you know, my deal with you. If you can get to Rhode Island, you can stay here. You can send your kids to the schools. We'll protect you. We'll provide you all these various things. But you have to get here. Well, that's where the problem comes in, is them trying to get here. Do you see? He shouldn't be offering a sanctuary. Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee and Governor Healy, they're offering these people. It's a mirage. It's a false choice. They're making promises to them. Come here, bring your children. We'll provide you sanctuary. We'll protect you. The families run into very dangerous people trying to get here. And you don't hear anyone call them out on it. That's where I believe this governor, who, keep in mind, you know, they find out that they will call ICE in Boston, and they say, right now, it is whatever, 2:30, and we have an illegal, and he's at Kent County Courthouse in Warwick, or he's at, you know, court in Providence, whatever, not the Judge Caprio show, but he's in district in Providence. And it looks like he's going to make bail for assault or for, you know, being a pedophile. So unless you can get here in the next 15 minutes, we're going to set him free. And ICE Boston says, no, hold on a minute. We can't get there in 15 minutes. We could send someone tomorrow to get him. So could you take him back to the ACI, hold him there, and then we'll come tomorrow? What does Governor McKee say? Nope, we're going to set him free from the courthouse. Folks, how is that? He should be arrested for that. That is irresponsible. Now, here's the thing I want to touch on. I fully recognize the reason you're not hearing this, unfortunately and tragically, but the rest of the local media, they to me, they're enablers. They don't cover the story. They've done bits and pieces here and there, but not a real drill down, not a flood the zone, not a let's really assign some people to look into something. Nothing like that. And even the local print, they like to do stories on people wrongfully accused, wrongfully arrested, blah, blah, blah. They love those stories. Let's do a profile. Here's a homeless couple. They're married and they don't want to give up their dog and cat. Let's hang around with them for They love, especially print media. They're the worst of them. They love stories like that. There's some story in Esquire. I think the guy's in Westerly. I became a homeless person to write about it. It's much like when you had the people sleeping out at the State House. Where are you gonna, pretending they're homeless? Folks, this portion of our program, and it's brought to you by Dreammaker. Remember, your dream kitchen or bath is waiting for you with Dennis and Christina at Dreammaker. Call them today, 401-433-7272. Their beautiful design center, Greenwich Avenue in Warwick. It's Dreammaker. Call them today, 401-433-7272. One-stop shop. They take you from concept to completion. If President Trump was in Rhode Island, he would want his kitchen or bathroom done by Dreammaker. That's just a fact. Remember, respect, integrity, customer focus. This state-of-the-art design center, Greenwich Avenue in Warwick. It's Dreammaker. Call today, set up that appointment at 401-433-7272. I share their Facebook page. It's Dreammaker. Well, folks, good afternoon. I think it's selfishness. It's not fair to do that. Governor McKee is bouncing checks in the form of promises. He's writing checks he can't cover. He is making promises to these people that he shouldn't on our dime. Right? Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, the people of Rhode Island are more than happy to put these people up and pay for them. No, we're not. The people of Rhode Island are more than happy to pay for their education. No, we're not. No, why? Why should we have to do that? Why should you have to pay that? No one talks about Rhode Island as a housing crisis. No one talks about why do we have a housing crisis. Gee, I wonder where all the low-income housing went. As I have told the story before, in the late 80s, I lived in the city of Providence for a couple of years. You would have a triple-decker, and I remember, I had college roommates. There were 4 of us on the second floor. There was a family of 4 on the first floor. They were poor, but they were, living on the first floor. Husband, wife, whatever, and 2 kids. The third floor was like one guy that lived up there. So you look at the number of people. There was 3 units. How many people are actually living at that address? So 4 in the bottom, 4 in the middle, and then 1 on the top. So 9 people. Today, if I go to that same house, they'll have 6 people in the basement. The entire house is all illegals. 6 in the basement. They'll have 10 on the first floor. You're at 15. They'll have 10 on the second floor. They're at 25. And they'll have 5 on the third floor. 30 people living there. And they pay cash. And the landlords rent to them. And so you have the people that normally would say, I want a 2-bedroom. A lot of people that are single, I want a 2-bedroom. I want to have a room my regular bedroom, then like a work area. So you have someone that says, I want a 2-bedroom. Or 2 people that say, yeah, we're going to have roommates. We'll each have a bedroom. Well, they can't afford it. They can't afford the family that's forking over when you have 10 people. Never mind. There was a fire, if you remember, about a year and a half ago in Providence. And it was a tragic fire. But and the house was filled with people living top to bottom. When we had Terry Gorman on, he said there was a triple-decker in Pawtucket. There were 8 guys living in the basement. They had a bucket for them to go to the bathroom. I didn't say it's the Ritz-Carlton, but a lot of the landlords, that needs to change. But a big element of money that no one talks about, folks, and they don't talk about it locally, You don't hear anybody talk about how much money, for whatever reason, local media, they don't do a drill down. How much money does it cost to send all these children to school where they're going for free? They're not paying taxes, and they're attending the Rhode Island public schools, and they're going there for free. You know, something else that here's what you need to understand. The Department of Education needs to be blown up. People deserve school choice. They do. This is crazy. The public school system, by and large, I'm not saying all of them, by and large, is a failed system, because in our country right now, the public schools are not controlled by the principal and the superintendent. The teachers' unions dictate everything. But what no one talks about, so therefore, it's the purpose is not education. The purpose is to get as many students into the system. And then the purpose is to try to make as much money as possible for their members. So another problem we have, and I will try to look into it. I don't hear anyone talk about it. Rhode Island is a huge population of Dominicans, but they don't pay taxes in Rhode Island. They still have their home in the Dominican, but they come here in the summertime, but then they go back to the DR in the wintertime. And then they pull the kids out of school. They come here because they send their kids to the schools. Providence has a huge Dominican population, but a lot of the Dominican nationals, the authorities don't really have a handle on them. One of the fugitives that ICE grabbed, he's a Dominican national. Something needs to be done about that. All I'm saying is the Providence taxpayers, and by the way, the state of Rhode Island, we give, all of us, doesn't matter whether or not you live in Providence. The city of Providence receives over $300 million a year in state aid for their schools. So the schools, they don't care whether somebody belongs here or not. They just want as many kids in the school, and they want to keep as many of the schools open. But Providence would be a different city. Same thing with Central Falls or Pawtucket, if in fact it was only citizens getting an education. And no one can answer, why should the taxpayers, and by the way, this isn't just a Rhode Island thing. I mean, that obviously goes on in Mass. It goes on in Connecticut, clearly goes on in Colorado, clearly goes on in New York, Chicago, definitely California. But what no one answers is just focus on Rhode Island. So you have a family from, wherever, Guatemala, Latin America somewhere, Uruguay or El Salvador or anywhere like that. And they get a visa and they come to Providence, and then the visa expires and they just stay and they send their kids to the school. No one can answer, how come you have to pay for that? No one even asked that question. That question is not even, it's not that it's not answered. It's not even asked. How come? How come you have to pay for it? And Sabina Matto says, because the people of Rhode Island want to do that. I disagree with that. Do you realize, as I've said, each student in the Providence school, it's minimum $25,000 a year. Minimum. Plus they go to the emergency room, so they're like a walk-in clinic. Why should you have to pay for that? No one can answer that question. No one will answer the question because they're not even being asked the question. Governor McKee, because it's the right thing to do. Why is that the right thing to do? Are they following the law? How come they don't have to follow the law? Because the people of Rhode Island want to do it. I disagree with that. What I notice is the people of Rhode Island are never fully told what the cost is. For what is the cost? All of these women that go to Women and Infants and give birth and they have no health insurance. Do you realize that's 60 grand, 60,000, and you have to pay for it and I have to pay for it. And we all have to pay for it if you pay taxes. They don't have to pay for it. How come they don't have to pay for it? You know, they never answer that question. Does that seem like a fair equation? It's not like, well, they're paying for it and we're paying for it. They don't pay for it. They don't pay for it. I want to be very clear. Let's just say a lot of the harvesting, right? A lot of the agriculture, they need foreign workers, and they're good workers. You have people that have farms. I've told the story. I met this guy. His family, they have huge apple orchards. Washington State, they need foreign labor. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem though is they should then be responsible for the foreign labor, whether it's they hire them, recruit them, whatever. But you can't just have whoever wanders in. That's coming to an end. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Propane Plus. Propane Plus wants to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. All of their customers and you. Remember, for all your propane needs, call Propane Plus today, 401-885-4209. In Massachusetts, 508-252-3359. Propane Plus, residential or commercial, you can depend on Propane Plus. Call them today. Now, if you like, they have a very user-friendly website. Go to their website, you type in your zip code, residential, commercial, Propane Plus, or call them at 401-885-4209 or 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. Well, folks, good afternoon on this Tuesday. Now, programming note, there will be real news tomorrow. I'm not sure about Friday. I'm going to wait and see. I think so, but we'll wait and see. Let's get through that. Tonight is a busy night with Road Patrol Live. Tomorrow night's a really busy night. Tomorrow night, the roads are packed. It's like New Year's Eve. There's a lot of crime. And then this Friday and Saturday, Black Friday, is whenever there's a lot of people out, there's various things that can happen. We will be out on the roads later, so you can tune in. I want to thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned. If you're listening to the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Otherwise, you should really log on to DePetro.com. You'll like a lot of the Charlotte Lester stuff, some really interesting elements. We really learned what the evidence the police had. Enjoy this rainy Tuesday.